So perfect as always. So beautiful. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, at whatever time you are tuning in. My name is Reverend Melinda, and I am so blessed to be stepping in and speaking with this beloved community, CSL Leesburg. Thank you so much, Reverend Charlene. Love you so much. Dan, thank you for stepping in, and Leah, always for your beautiful music and gifts. Oh, how you doing? This month, a whole no matter what. Oh, I love this theme. And today's title, Who I Am, reflects how I am. I really had to struggle with this title. I gotta tell you, it was just like, wait, what? What does that mean? Who I am reflects how I am. So I want to go into our reading today, and it's, chef's kiss, the perfection that always shows up with the readings, with the topics, with the music, with everyone that shows up. So today's reading is written by Brian Plachta, Plchta, Plachta, and it's titled, It's Okay to Be Perfectly Human. I love this. So, why do we nag and criticize ourselves? Perfectionism is one reason. We expect ourselves to be perfect, and when we aren't, we shame ourselves. Anybody? We dig trenches of negativity that tell us we're bad, flawed, broken, driving ourselves to achieve and to become better is a good thing. It allows us to set and reach goals, to pursue our dreams, and to make the world a better place. But that drive can become imbalanced when it over tilts into egotistical, shameful, or never good enough attitudes. I want us to read that again, and I want you to just gently, lovingly look at your own motivations and drive. Driving ourselves to achieve and to become better is a good thing, but that drive can become imbalanced when it over tilts into egotistical, shameful, or never good enough attitudes. He goes on to say, what if when we catch ourselves launching a negativity attack against our self-image, we stop and immediately name one good character trait we possess? One quality we like about ourselves. Reminding ourselves we're good, teachable, and lovable might be a simple practice that will help turn off the negativity switch in our heads. By adopting the practice of affirming and accepting ourselves, we purposely lower the unattainable bar of perfectionism. We allow ourselves to be perfectly human. Perfectly human means we will make mistakes, and when we do, we'll admit them and learn from them. It means loving ourselves unconditionally. When we make peace with our internal wars and accept all parts of ourselves without judgment, we create more space for God to love us, for us to love ourselves, and then for us to become multipliers of unconditional love for others. Stop the inner war. Pick up instead the plowshare of self-acceptance. Affirm your humble goodness and allow yourself to be perfectly human. That was Brian Plachetta. There's so much in just that reading. I think that pointing to and looking to that drive over tilting into egotism, tilting into that not good enough, that driving, that striving to be better. And what is the message we're giving ourselves unconsciously when we're constantly striving to be better? And it's, again, it's unconsciously. I don't think the intention, when I see people who have goals, who keep driving and driving and driving, I do not believe the intention is to give themselves the message that where I'm at right now is not good enough. But oftentimes, that's exactly what it says. What if right where you were was enough? What if? Because that's where wholeness lives. Wholeness lives in the enoughness of who you are in this moment. Now, the meditation that I walked us through earlier was something that came in. I do inspired meditations once a week on Insight Timer, and I just allow inspiration, divinity to show up. And lately, my guides, my intuition, I don't know, whatever that is, spirit came in this beautiful form of just, let's just sit together. Let's just sit. Nothing to do. And the invitation was to allow our human self to begin to co-regulate with divinity. Now, there's a saying, the company you keep is often the company you become. So if you're staying around people who are very negative and worrying and anxious and lots of disconnect and lots of othering and, oh, look at what they've done and oh no. And Reverend Shar and I were talking about this morning. She's so delighted right now because she's seeing the stories and she's really experiencing this beautifully profound separation of, oh, I see the illusion. I see the stories that we're telling ourselves. When we're with people who don't have that level of awareness, it's easy to get caught up in the, oh no, ain't it awful? But to invite in your own quiet space, in your own self, that presence that you experience as the divine, however it appears to you, that can help you co-regulate and up-level your energy, your thoughts, even your behaviors to that of something that is of a divine nature. Isn't that worth spending time with? Now, this whole talk is really about the idea of who I am reflects how I am. And I have been having some interesting, just say it that way, interesting insights, downloads, awakenings myself. And this week, I had a very opposite experience than Reverend Shar. Reverend Shar was like, oh my gosh, it's all great and wonderful, and I can see the illusions. And I'm like, I want some of that. That wasn't what I was having. And that doesn't make her right or wrong. My experience was my experience because this is where I was. But I was seeing things out in the world, out in my community. For those of you who don't know, I work in Sedona, and there's this interesting split of Sedona. There is the grandeur and the beauty and the sacredness of the land. And then there's this interesting human activity that happens amidst it. And then there's what's happening in the world. And I just dropped into this profound grief for humanity. And I kept saying, my God, what have we become? My God, what have we become? And some of that, yes, is my own judgment and getting caught up in the storyline. Yes, I did that. There's me being perfectly human. I got caught up in it. And because I practice this idea that the divine presence is with me all the time, there's never a moment in my mind's eye lately that I am alone because that presence is with me. It surrounds me. It infuses itself through me. Just like Science of Mind teaches, that's the idea that I hold in my mind's eye. And this idea of co-regulating with the divine, to help me remember my own wholeness. And every time I would go into the just profound sadness for humanity, oh, what have we become? I heard this little voice, that small, still voice, ask me the question, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Because who I am reflects how I am. And if who I am is the company I keep based on all the conversations I have in a given day, from local Sidoniites, I don't know how you would say that, to the people that I work with all around the world, to people in the news, like who I am reflects how I am. And if I'm keeping that company and not being mindful about who I'm co-regulating with, am I co-regulating with worry, with fear, with division, with blame? Or am I co-regulating with peace and love and grace and understanding and kindness and patience? Who I am reflects how I am. And this question, who do I want to be, stops the whole thing. And isn't that what our reading was saying? Is like there's this pattern that we do, this self-criticism. And I'll say we also love to judge and criticize others. Oh, we're really good at it. At this point, we're masters at sometimes not even paying attention to what's happening here. We're masterful about getting so caught in what's happening out there. What they did, what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they should be doing. Who do I want to be? And aligning to and co-regulating with that holy presence that actually is in, through, and around all things, if we choose to see it. It's a choice. And I am not one to deny my experience. I've gotten very good about being aware of my experience. And this idea of who I am reflects how I am really speaks to the fact that everything in this world is about relationship. It's all about relationship. This quote from Ernest Holmes, a reader on practical wisdom, I think really speaks beautifully. Humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. I'll say it again. Humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. Isn't that a tall order? That one's tough because we see the broken. We see the patterns repeating over cycles of lifetimes. I'm thinking of a client that I spoke with, and I've been working with her for years, and she just had such a difficult childhood, so grossly neglected, two parents that really didn't create an environment of safety for her. And now both parents are gone, and she really has created a life that is peaceful. And yet the voices, the habits of her parents echo. And it's like, that's all she hears. All she hears. And all she says is, oh, it's because my parents did this, and oh, because my parents did that. And I have such compassion for what it's like to be so looped into a wound that that's all we see. It's hard to see the divinity when we're stuck into the wound of our humanity. but it's a choice to see it. That's when it will become identical, is when we recognize divinity in humanity. Ernest goes on to say, we must learn to see through the apparent. Reverend Shar gets gold stars for this. Reverend Shar is just tickled and delighted because she sees it. Oh, that's the story. Oh, that's the story. And for the most part, certainly with my clients, I can see it too. Oh, that's their story. They're living into a story that's not even happening right now. Bless this client. I mean, wow, she's really in this painful place. I would say suffering, as the Buddhists would say. We create our own suffering because she's playing the wound out rather than seeing beyond that. Ernest says we must learn to see through the apparent. Apparently, there's some stuff happening in the world. Apparently, there's some stuff happening in the economy. Apparently, there's some stuff that's happening. But we have to see through it to realize that at the center of every person's soul, God is enthroned. Oh, I love that statement. God is enthroned. Compassion and caring are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. Oh my gosh. The power that we hold for each other to just be that presence that sits next to someone and sees through the apparent, that holds that knowing and that understanding is somewhere deep in there, beyond the storyline, beyond the hurts and beyond the wounds. Divinity. There's a light in there that can't be touched, that can't be changed, that cannot be altered in any way. The divine light within each and every one of us cannot be extinguished. And it's there, hidden behind the stories, behind the illusion. And so this idea that we can learn to co-regulate with divinity within our own meditation practice means that we can begin to co-regulate with each other and help realize that divine within us and within each other. That, my friends, is the most powerful thing that we could do right now. Can you imagine if all we had to do was just sit next to someone, stand next to someone in line, or even imagine ourselves somewhere in the world and just sit there and just know truth? That's it. It's actually quite simple. And the gift that comes with that is beautiful. Because when you sit and you know that divine light, that presence is in that other person, it actually creates an opportunity, an opening, an awakening. The universe will literally rearrange itself because of your observation. Quantum physics says that energy acts based on how we observe it. And so if we were to imagine that each and every person in the world is this beautiful marble sculpture in all of its exquisite glory, different shapes, different sizes, of course, but every one of them, perfection, beautiful perfection. And yet, around those sculptures is scaffolding, covering the whole you can't even see the sculpture because it's got all the scaffolding around it, and it's got big long drapes around it. I know we have that actually, it's it's on our world stage right now, that idea that there's something behind the curtain. But could you imagine recognizing there is a beautiful creation hidden behind the scaffolding of someone's wounds, of their own beliefs, of their own ideas of limitation or their station in life. Could you imagine all of that as the scaffolding? And your job is to look through the apparent. Apparently, there's a bunch of curtains up. Apparently, there's just a bunch of scaffolding up. We can't even see what's behind it. But if you sat and knew, and I mean knew, that there was beauty behind all of that, that God was behind all of that, could you sit more patiently? Could you sit more lovingly and know that truth for them? Could you do it for yourself and recognize within your own self your own scaffolding? This idea that to show up in our authenticity, oof, I've been having some interesting fun with that. I'm not going to give it away, Leah. I just want to tell you, I'm not going to give it away. Leah said, do not give away anything about Disclosure Day. I'm not going to. But it was a beautiful story about truth. And it really brought to my attention how challenged we are to hold truth for ourselves as much as each other. And there's these three, and I know I've said this here before, I'm certain I have. There's these three versions, and I think that they are kind of blending in, and it's kind of a map. Is the first idea about truth is you can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson's voice booming. And how many times in your own life did you withhold the truth from yourself? I think back of a relationship that I had many years ago. And I have to say, I have great fondness for this person now. I just want to, I moved through it. But at the time, it took me 6 years to speak out loud my truth, my authentic truth about that relationship, which I knew on date number 2. I knew on date number 2, this is not my person. Not because they're a horrible being. That's not, it has nothing to do with them. They're just not my person. They weren't spiritually minded. What am I doing looking for anybody who's not spiritually minded? Like, what a mismatch. It took me 6 years to speak that truth. So we can't handle our own truth. And I think we need to be gentle with ourselves until we can. Second step is the truth hurts. It sure does. I was sharing with Reverend Shar that this week I shared with someone my truth. And I know that truth hurt. And the truth was I did not want to spend one-on-one time with this individual. They're a lovely person. Lovely. Beautiful. But they're not someone I want to spend one-on-one time with. And it hurt me to say that out loud. And I did. And I did it in the kindest of ways, not having to cater to or take care of their feelings, but to just speak my truth, because otherwise putting myself in a continued situation that I don't want to be there is not honoring me, and it's certainly not honoring them. And the final one is the truth will set you free. And so when we hold ourselves authentically to show up in the world, to look through the apparent, to know that beautiful marble structure of the sacred is underneath the scaffolding within every single person. Whew. We have to show up with some courage and some kindness. It means that practicing sitting in the presence of the sacred, whatever that is for you, is going to eventually help you find the words. It's going to help you find the clarity. It's going to help you be the most compassionate person you can be. and speak that truth, because that's what the world is calling for right now, for us to stand authentically in ourselves. But we have to be able to be willing to invite and love the wholeness, the allness of our being. So I invite you this week to practice sitting with the sacred, whatever that is for you. Allow yourself to co-regulate with all those beautiful qualities of clarity and wisdom and kindness and love and healing. I invite you to speak one truth so that you can be more aligned to your authenticity, and you don't have to say it to anybody but yourself. Maybe you say it to the divine as you're sitting with them. It's like, hey, psst, just wanted you to know I'm not happy in this relationship. Just needed someone to know. I just need to own that truth. And I guarantee you, beloved, that the words will come, because that presence that's sitting next to you, that is you. So let's go into prayer, shall we? As we close our eyes, we just step into this beautiful day, into this wonder of a lifetime. And maybe we can all take on Reverend Shar a little bit and step away from the story and giggle to ourselves and like, oh, it's all a story. I just know that divine presence is in, through, and around all things. Like little waves coming out of the ocean. We are that. We are those individual expressions coming out of the ocean from the sea of spirit itself. And I know that there is no separation, that there is only wholeness, allness, and oneness. And that we can absolutely see through the apparent, and we can know the deeper truths. And so in this moment, through the power of my word, I just claim for this beautiful community, a profound shift is happening, an awakening is happening, a deepening is happening. And that through that awakening comes profound compassion for oneself as much as everyone else. I know for this beloved community that health, wholeness, and abundance is already present right here for each and every person. And I know that this ripples out into the world, into all of humanity. For as we hold this deeper truth for ourselves, then the illusion, the scaffolding falls, and the beauty that is each and every being is revealed. So grateful for this beloved community. I'm so grateful for these words. I'm so grateful for the insights. I'm so grateful for the people that put this together, that bring this message forward. I'm so grateful to the beloved, to the divine itself, for these incredible moments of just teaching us who we are and allowing us to be how we are, more aligned, more loving, more kind, more compassionate. And so I release these words into that infinite, universal yes, into the law, knowing that it's already done, it's already unfolding. We just sit back, allow it to be. We giggle at the illusion. We welcome the divine revelation. And so it is.
And so it is.